vegans are trying to push the idea that veganism is universally the correct way to live for all of us, and I do not agree.
Well, physiologically speaking, it is. There's no evidence that you can't be healthy on a vegan diet. It's healthy for all stages of life, and unless you can actually name some nutrient that you can't acquire, then you're just full of shit.
Um, right off the bat, this is a logical fallacy, in which he is trying to reassign who has the burden of proof.
Let's break it down.
Well, physiologically speaking, it is. There's no evidence that you can't be healthy on a vegan diet.
But then over the course of maybe 3, 4, 5 years or so, they started having real issues.
And they don't necessarily tie that to the diet because they remember feeling so much better when they first switched to it. So they don't think that what's happening 3 or 4 years later could be the cause of their problems. I see this all the time with vegetarian and vegan diets.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
In terms of that, because most people who switch to a vegetarian or vegan diet, you're going to see some instant benefits because of the fact that you have much more nutrient dense foods. You're eating a lot of vegetables. You're changing your diet in a lot of ways to the positive or towards a positive, away from what you were talking about, those primary foods that Americans tend to eat, all the processed sugar, all the just nonsense and chicken tenders and all that crap that people eat, which is just so goddamn common, right?
Yeah.
So automatically over that, you're going to see some long-term benefits. But one of the things that I've been reading is about people that have found that over the long term, and this is contrary to what a lot of people think, lack of saturated fat and cholesterol, dietary cholesterol and saturated fat, leads to hormonal imbalances, leads to your body having a harder time producing sex hormones, and all these different issues with your health where your body almost starts robbing itself to make up for the nutritional deficiencies of your diet.
So the thing that people don't understand is that the only type of research having to do with healthy eating, what is good for a long-term way for a population to eat, the only type of research that really is valid for that is what we call multi-generational research. So if somebody wants to tell me, which they do all the time, that's a healthy way to eat. No, that's a healthy way. No, this is a healthy way. And they can fill in the blank with, vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian, lacto-ovo-vegetarian, fish only, strict vegan, which often I hear pronounced vegan. I'm not sure where that came from, and I'm pretty sure it's vegan. But in any event, I go, well, how big is the planet? We have a pretty big planet. We have huge numbers of variations of the ways in which people eat. But even though this planet is this huge, and even though when people like Weston Price and Wilhelm Stephenson and other explorers that went around the planet to different places found the civilizations or tribal populations, the Eskimos, who, they were called Eskimos then, now we can't do that, now they're the Inuit. But the original way that these groups ate, and that included New Zealand Maori, it included the Maasai in Africa, lots and lots of different groups. They basically didn't have all of our diseases. And so you'd have, 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds, and you wouldn't have cancer, and you wouldn't have heart disease, and you wouldn't have diabetes, and all the various things we have, they didn't have. And their diets were very different from one another. But there were a couple of similarities. Price, who studied over a dozen different tribal populations, never found a vegetarian diet. And the few times that he found tribes that, because of a mountain range or something else that made it so that some particular animal food, whether it was some types of birds or some type of four-legged animals, were less able to be in an area or caught in that area. So in other words, you get very similar part of the world, not that far apart, but this tribe could get more animal protein than that tribe. The one eating more animal protein was healthier. So if we have such a large planet with such unbelievably diverse populations and diverse climates. You've got everything from unbelievably hot and humid to unbelievably hot and dry to everything in the middle. And so all the different types of things that you would think would sustain long-term multi-generational health would have been tried and would be going on somewhere if they worked. How come we don't have a single vegan tribe anywhere on the planet Earth?
It's healthy for all stages of life.
How come you can't point me to a fourth generation vegan? My guess, and if I was a multi-billionaire, if I was a Bill Gates or a Warren Buffett, I would fund the experiment. I would have an island, and everything that they wanted would be there. Whatever it is anybody might want, it would be there. We'd bring all the vegans together. They could all be there. And not because I hate anybody. I like everybody. Everybody has the rights to do what they want to do. But I would want to be able to regulate it so that no animal food of any kind, nothing that isn't classified as vegan, would be allowed on that island. Things would get searched before a helicopter would land, etc. But anything else they wanted would be there. I want us to be a place where people would love to live. Oh my God, the preeminent perfect vegan society. And I would like to see if we could get to 5 generations, because that's what proves a really, really perfect diet. 5 generations and we're still in perfect health.
And unless you can actually name some nutrient that you can't acquire, then you're just full of shit.
Personally, since DHA and EPA, 2 of the essential fatty acids, don't exist in the plant kingdom. And so unless your body can make enough of it from the plant sources of omega-3s, which most people can't, vitamin B12 has been shown to be extremely poorly absorbed except in animal origin. So a lot of vegetarians take B12. Well, how do we have a healthy diet that you have to take a supplement for to be healthy? So I would love to be able to do that experiment, but meanwhile, I will only believe that a diet is healthy if we can validate that 5 generations have eaten that way, still have fertility, still have excellent health, are still doing very well, and, you know, find me a vegan society on this planet that would have developed if it were one of the many types of food eating, you know, that worked. And we don't have it. Doesn't mean it's impossible. I think it's impossible.